and to my dear friend, Chancellor Harold Martin, leader of this great institution, and his fine wife, Davida. Thank you all for hosting us today. You know, this outstanding university has a great place, a special place in my heart. And it's really such a privilege to be back. I come from a family of proud Aggies, and they're proud for a good reason. A&T is not just the largest HBCU in America, but it's one of the greatest research universities in the world, home to one of North Carolina's leading centers for energy research and technology development. Every year, this premier university produces some of our nation's top engineers, the highest number of Black engineers in the United States, and prepares the next generation of leaders to confront the most pressing challenges we face, none more urgent than the climate crisis. Folks, I would not be where I am today, the first Black man to serve as the administrator of the United States Environmental Protection Agency, if it were not for the time I spent here at North Carolina A&T State University. So to the students here, know that you have the education, know that you have the tools, know that you have the ability not just to excel, but to be extraordinary. You have everything you need to soar, and the world has never needed you more. So never forget that, yes, indeed, your degree from a historically Black university can take you anywhere, including the White House. And now it's my pleasure to introduce my governor, your governor, Governor Roy Cooper.
Well, thank you, Administrator Reagan. I tell you, you just like you did in North Carolina, turning around our Department of Environmental Quality, you have turned around the EPA. Thank you so much for your great leadership. And I'll tell you, his son Matthew, 7 years old, right on the tarmac today, stepped right up and welcomed the President of the United States to North Carolina and jumped right in the car with him. Now that is leadership. We're excited to welcome President Joe Biden to Greensboro to highlight the investments he has helped us make in roads and bridges, in clean transportation and EV charging stations, in high-speed internet access, and in good paying jobs that we're bringing to both rural and urban North Carolina. We are laser focused on strengthening our economy, moving quickly toward a clean energy future, and recruiting even more great jobs. Thanks to the well-trained, dedicated, diverse workforce that we have, and world-class higher education across our state, like North Carolina A&T State University. Aggie Pride! Aggie Pride! Yeah, I did it, Chancellor Martin. Yeah. Companies from across the globe are choosing to grow and expand in our state, creating American jobs. We're already on pace to have yet another record-breaking year for new jobs and capital investment in North Carolina. And even through a pandemic, we've announced tens of thousands of jobs and tens of billions of dollars in economic investment across our state, a lot of it right here in the Triad. This is great news, but we do know that prices for gas and food are going up and impacting families. And we have to find a way to make basic necessities more affordable. One way is easing supply chain woes that make goods more costly. And North Carolina is helping. We've opened a new intermodal facility called the Carolina Connector, and we've upgraded our state ports to get goods from ship to shelf quicker. Both of these can reduce costs. President Biden understands the importance of bringing down consumer prices while strengthening our country's infrastructure and our economy. And we'll hear about his latest efforts today. Together, we can build an even stronger future for all North Carolinians and all Americans. I'm so glad to introduce my friend who is a strong advocate for the Triad and for North Carolina, Congresswoman Kathy Manning.
Good afternoon. I am so proud to welcome President Biden to beautiful Greensboro, North Carolina, and to North Carolina A&T State University. And I am not going to compete with the governor and the way he said Aggie pride, so just imagine that an octave higher. I want to thank President Biden for his leadership and for making the trip here today to witness all the great things happening in the Triad. In the last few months, our region has seen some very exciting economic announcements that will bring thousands of good-paying jobs to this area. These announcements have included advanced manufacturing jobs at the first Toyota automotive electric battery manufacturing plant in the country, at a Boom supersonic airline manufacturing facility, also the first in the country, that will add good-paying jobs to our innovative and growing aerospace industry, which will be headquartered at the Piedmont Triad International Airport. We've seen expansions to existing industries in our region, ranging from textiles to microchips that create American-made goods. These exciting developments are bolstered by the $10.4 billion investment in North Carolina's infrastructure that was made possible by the passage of the bipartisan infrastructure law, which I was proud to support. Since President Biden signed that bill into law, we've already seen investments in our community that are improving the quality of our roads and bridges, expanding access to broadband, and increasing electric vehicle charging infrastructure. Democrats are delivering on our promise to improve our nation's outdated infrastructure. And here in the Triad, these investments are increasing the quality of life for residents, improving transit for local businesses, and creating jobs. I'm proud to welcome as my guests some of our community's great business leaders. These leaders run businesses that range in size from a few dozen employees to a few thousand. Our businesses are innovative. They provide good-paying jobs. And we in the Triad are proud to continue our strong history of manufacturing things for the American people. Throughout the pandemic, our businesses adapted to produce essential PPEs to keep our hospital and frontline workers safe, to overcome supply chain challenges, and to continue employing members of our community during times of economic hardship. They're all shining examples of the best of what North Carolina has to offer. As we stand on the campus of North Carolina A&T State University, I am inspired to think about the next generation of engineers and scientists and teachers and nurses and business innovators we are educating who will lead us into the future. And we have just met with some of those students, and they are extraordinary. I look forward to working with our president to bring down our costs so that our young people and people all across the Triad can thrive. In Congress, I've introduced legislation to cap out-of-pocket costs for prescription medications to ensure that people can afford the medication they need to stay healthy. I've supported an increase in Pell Grants so more students can afford higher education. I've supported funding for more apprenticeship programs and community colleges so our students can gain the skills they need for the good jobs we already have and the jobs we will grow in this area. And I've advocated for creative solutions to lower the cost of essential goods such as gas and groceries. Early in the pandemic, I asked President Biden to sign a Buy America executive order so that our local manufacturers could continue employing our local residents while adapting their businesses to meet our nation's PPE needs. And I'm glad to say that President Biden did sign that executive order, and it has resulted in continued growth of American manufacturing. Since then, I have supported passage of the America Competes Act, which will create jobs, strengthen American manufacturing, sharpen our technological edge, and make strategic investments in our nation's future. I have 2 amendments included in the Competes Act to help American businesses attract the best and the brightest talent, to bolster HBCUs like North Carolina A&T, to also help minority-serving institutions, tribal colleges, and American manufacturing. And I was thrilled to bring more than $16.4 million in community project funding to our community that will help us with projects ranging from a new 911 dispatch system to electric buses to access to the internet in underserved areas to summer tutoring programs that will help our students who experienced learning loss during the pandemic. I will continue to work with President Biden and my colleagues in Congress to invest in our communities, to lower costs for working families, and to create jobs here at home. Once again, I want to thank President Biden for his leadership and for allowing me to be here today to highlight some of the many reasons that I am proud to represent this community in Congress. The future is bright in Greensboro, North Carolina. Thank you all.
Please welcome North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University student Malcolm Hawkins.
Good afternoon to all in attendance. My name is Malcolm Hawkins, and I'm a senior electrical engineering student here at North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University. I'm truly honored to welcome President Biden to this illustrious institution. When I made the decision to attend North Carolina A&T, I was excited for the journey to come. I look forward to learning as much as I could so that I would excel upon graduation. After being on campus for 4 years, I can certainly attest to the excellent education that an HBCU provides. I've been taught by dedicated professors and mentored by individuals who saw my potential to positively impact this world. I've interned at 4 different companies, participated in and won a national competition, and traveled abroad. This and so much more is possible by investment in HBCUs. North Carolina A&T graduates the highest number of African-American engineers, and they go on to have successful careers in government, industry, and academia. There's always a need for problem solvers who can tackle the most difficult issues, including those involving the economy, and HBCUs prepare students for the challenge. The key to this preparation is innovation, whether that's through our many centers of excellence or the new Harold L. Martin Senior Engineering Research and Innovation Complex. A&T students, regardless of major, graduate with the skills needed to transform their respective fields. Needless to say, as I graduate next month, I feel fully equipped with the knowledge I need to excel in all aspects of my life. I'm excited to see HBCUs continue to rise in prominence, and I can't wait to see how they impact America in the future. With that, please give a warm welcome to the President of the United States, Joe Biden.
Hello, Greensboro. Chancellor, please take a seat if you have one. I said that one day, take a seat. The press pointed out to me there were no chairs out there. Thank you very, very much for the opportunity to be here. Chancellor, thank you, and thank your wife as well for all you do for educating the future of this country. And I've been impressed. I've been on a lot of university campuses. Matter of fact, for 4 years, I was a full professor at the University of Pennsylvania. And this is really an impressive place with a lot of impressive students. And it's good to be here at A&T. And I thank you for your sharing your story, Malcolm. He's gonna, did you say where you're going? Am I allowed to say where you're gonna be working? You can work at IBM, a little outfit, you know, that is. Just remember, when you're chairman of the board, remember me, okay? If I go by and say, hey, Malcolm. I said, it's Joe here. I don't want to hear Joe who, okay? Well, Mayor Vaughn, thank you for the passport into the city. It's great to be here with a congresswoman who delivers to the people of this district. Kathy, you do an incredible job. You really do. You really do. My dear friend, Congressman G.K. Butterfield. What did I see here? There you go, man. Stand up. I want you to stand up. This guy, he's done so much over this distinguished career for the last 20 years or so. I wish you weren't leaving, pal. I wish you weren't leaving, but I understand. And but thank for all you've done. And Congresswoman Alma Adams, where's she? There you are. I see the hat. What am I talking about? Alma, how are you? You're the best. Thank you for all the hard work delivered for HBCUs, not just this one, but all across the country. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And your outstanding governor, one of the best governors in the entire United States of America. I say that without reservation, Governor Roy Cooper. Gov. Roy has proven himself to be, not a joke, one of the finest governors in the nation. He's displayed so many talents. He's deployed funding for American Rescue Plan to deliver debt-free community college for young people in North Carolina. He's delivered high-speed internet in rural communities. He's delivered well-deserved raise for teachers and first responders. And thanks for making a difference for the families here in North Carolina, Governor. You're setting an example across the country. Thank you. And look, you can cheer. It's all right. There's a debate in my administration that we never seem to be able to settle. And that is that the vice president is incredibly talented. She's a Howard graduate. A great school. And I hear about Morehouse men from my senior advisor, Cedric Richmond, all the time. And you got a great university here. But Delaware State. Delaware State. They launched me into my career, not a joke. I got elected to the United States Senate when I was 29 years old, Chancellor. Had to wait 17 days to be eligible to be sworn in, true story. And it wouldn't have happened. And I won by a rousing 3,021 votes. And it wouldn't have happened without Delaware State. What most people don't realize is Delaware has the 8th largest Black population in America. And the fact is that's, as I say in Claymont, Delaware, where I was raised, a little steel town in Delaware, you all brung me to the dance. And but here's the deal. I got a member of my cabinet who also slightly partial in North Carolina A&T, Administrator for Environmental Protection Agency, Michael Regan. Michael. Good. course, you never hear Michael bragging about the place as long as you don't have your hearing aid on. But look, he's a proud Aggie, and welcome back to the campus, Michael. And let me tell you, talking about some incredible students here today, I know why Michael's so proud of this school. I really mean it. And A&T is an extraordinary university with a great tradition, an HBCU tradition. You know, more than 180 years of excellence, delivering on that sacred promise we made in America, that every American, every race, every background, every zip code should have a fair and equal chance to go as far as their God-given talents can take them. And you're providing that here, Chancellor, because there's so many great professors here, and the program here is so strong. You're giving people an opportunity to take advantage of their God-given talents. That's why I reestablished the President's Board of Advisors on HBCUs, with not one, but two North Carolina A&T alums on it. Willie Dees and Janine Yisrael. Are you here? Are they here? Stand up, Willie. Stand up, Willie. Thank you. And also includes a proud North Carolina native, an NBA star, Chris Paul. He's on it. By the way, he's a hell of a ball player. Who supports the business course here at A&T and is a fierce champion for all HBCUs. That's why I signed an executive order to advance HBCU excellence across the entire administration, everything from policies to funding. And speaking of funding, we were able to deliver more than $5 billion last year to HBCUs and more to come this year. $5 billion. And they said we couldn't do it. But everybody's realized what an incredible asset the HBCUs are. We're also working to increase Pell Grants to help millions of Black students and lower income families attend community colleges and four-year schools. The reason my wife is not with me today, she's a community college professor and she's teaching as we speak. And I'm here today to talk about my plan to create and expand HBCU programs in high demand fields like cybersecurity, advanced manufacturing, healthcare, and so much more. And to talk about why it's so critical that we have to invest in American manufacturing. And if my dad were watching now, he passed away, but he's watching, he mad at me and said, excuse my back. I didn't apologize. My back. I apologize. But excuse my back. I'm looking at you. You know, why it's essential that the Congress take action quickly to support American innovation. I said today when I was, we were at the cybersecurity unit, that more is going to change in the next 10 years than it's changed in the last 50 years. Science and technology is moving so incredibly rapidly. It's all part of a broader vision that Vice President Harris and I ran on to build back a better America than even before the pandemic ran. A better way with better pay, greater dignity for working people, easing the financial burdens of millions of families, making it in America, as your Congresswoman said, with American manufacturing, the best engineers in the world, like so many here at A&T graduates, make up that cadre. From day one, every action I've taken to rebuild our economy has been guided by one principle: made in America. It means using products, parts, and materials built right here in the United States of America. It means bringing manufacturing jobs back and building the supply chains here at home, not outsourced from abroad. It means letting and betting on American workers, let them do the job and bet on them. And it takes a federal government that doesn't just give lip service to buying American, but actually takes action. Most people don't know, I know the Congresswoman knows, there's been a law in the book since the late 30s that says that you can use American tax dollars. And if your American tax dollars the president is spending, it should be spent on American products and American businesses. Every administration says they'll do it since the late 30s. But now, over time, Buy America has become basically a hollow promise. My administration is making Buy America a reality. We created Made in America in an office in the White House, a Made in America office to oversee these efforts. You know, what's happened is that the exception used to be if the president spends about $600 to $700 billion a year money on federal projects every year, from decks of aircraft carriers to so much more. And it's supposed to buy from American businesses and American products. But the fact of the matter is that there was an exception. If you couldn't readily find an American institution that either had this part of the supply chain and or the company, you didn't have to. You could buy it abroad. You could import it. Well, last month I announced one of the biggest changes in the Buy American Act in 70 years. Each year, the federal government spends more than $600 billion on goods and services. And in the past, if the manufacturing product that you get purchased by the federal government says that it's substantially all substantially all in America, it worked. But because of loopholes over time, you know what substantially all meant when I took office? It meant that 55% of the product was made up of American business and American product. It was substantially all an American product. Well, guess what? To me, 55% isn't substantially all. It's slightly over half. And so we issued a rule to raise the amount of domestic content required to be considered made in America from 55 to 75%. Substantially all is going to start meaning substantially all. And that's good for American workers and for American businesses, for communities like Greensboro. And I want to thank Congresswoman Manning who's been a strong, strong supporter of Buy America. Now we're seeing the results of our economic vision. Our economy created 431,000 jobs in the month of March alone. 431,000. 7.9 million jobs over the course of my presidency. More jobs in the 14 months I've been president than any president ever created in American history. Unemployment at 3.6%. It's down from 6.4% when we took office 14 months ago. It's the fastest decline in unemployment to start a president's term ever recorded. North Carolina, thanks to the American Rescue Plan and the leadership of Governor Cooper, has added 194,000 jobs in the last 14 months. 194,000 jobs. Good job. That's 67,000 jobs ahead of where the state was before the pandemic hit. And unlike the past recoveries, this time around with the American Rescue Plan, we made a choice to bring everyone along. So not only has unemployment rate dropped at a record pace here in North Carolina and across the nation, but Black unemployment fell by more than 30%. More than 30%. Hispanic unemployment fell from nearly 9% to 4.2% in the year 2021, the fastest single drop ever recorded. We had the largest one-year drop in long-term unemployment ever recorded in American history. Look, folks, because of the child tax credit, we've seen the lowest child poverty rate ever projected, an estimated nearly 40% decline in child poverty. The lowest number of home foreclosures ever recorded. A record low credit card delinquencies because families have more money in their pockets to pay their bills. The list goes on. All told, this economy grew by 5.7% last year in 2021, the fastest growth in 40 years. And in the process, doing all this, we still cut the deficit last year by $350 billion, just last year alone. And by an additional $1 trillion this year if the budget goes through. So folks, don't tell me this trickle-down idea is the only way to grow an economy. We're actually lowering the deficit, not increasing it. And after a long, tough stretch, Americans are back to work. Our economy has gone from being on the mend to being on the move. Now, I know that we're still facing challenges of high prices, inflation. I grew up in a family where when the price of gasoline went up at the pump, it was a conversation at the kitchen table with my dad. Putin's invasion of Ukraine has driven up gas prices and food prices all over the world. Ukraine and Russia are the 1 and 2 largest wheat producers in the world. We're number 3. They're shut down. We saw that in yesterday's inflation data. What people don't know is that 70% of the increase in inflation was a consequence of Putin's price hike because of the impact on oil prices. 70%. We need to address these high prices, and urgently, for working folks out there. And that's part of why what I'm going to talk to you about today, why it's so important. When we build more in America, we increase economic capacity, and ultimately it helps lower everyday prices for families. That's what we're starting to see. Look around. American manufacturing is coming back. Once again, we're seeing the pride that comes from stamping a product made in America. Companies are choosing to build their new factories here. charging stations. We're also getting rid of poisonous lead pipes that are in 10 million homes in America and 400,000 schools and daycare centers. And there's serious brain damage. Not a joke. So kids and families can have clean drinking water. And this year, North Carolina received $199 million for clean water because of that man right there, the governor. And folks, we're going to deliver affordable, high-speed internet everywhere in urban America, rural America, suburban and tribal communities. So moms don't have to do this. I wonder if you ever thought this would happen in America. Remember 3 or 4 months, 3 months ago when schools were still shut down? Showing pictures of moms and dads driving to the parking lot of a McDonald's so they could connect to the internet so the kid could do their homework. Not a joke. Not a joke. What the hell's going on here? All these investments in infrastructure, research, and development, and making it in America are really about one thing: empowering more communities to do what you're doing here in Greensboro, transforming yourself into a city of the future, not the past, where instead of shuttered factories, we're building clean energy technology that's going to power the future in America and around the world. Helping America achieve true energy independence by creating good jobs and fighting for climate change. And if we continue this, we're not only going to be investing here, we're going to export billions of dollars worth of product for the rest of the world. One of the proposals I have I won't go into now is a Build Back Better world. So all those countries in Africa and Latin America and the Middle East who don't have the capacity to make it better for themselves. We cut down all our forests, we're doing fine. Guess what? We're part of the reason for the global warming. A lot of poor countries. Do you realize one of the greatest carbon sinks in the world, absorbing carbon from the air, is the Amazon? The Amazon absorbs more pollutants, more carbon into the soil and the water in the Amazon than are emitted in the entire United States in 1 year, every year. But they don't have the money. But what they want to do, they want to level it so they can farm it, they can produce things on it and use up that sink. And even reinventing the legacy industries that Greensboro has been built on is a possibility. The 21st century smart textiles, they use chips and sensors to do things like regulate temperature in a garment. State-of-the-art facilities that make high-quality furniture. Above all, you're making Greensboro a place where the future is being written. Not a joke. The future is being written. Where students at great schools like A&T and other local universities and your incredible community colleges can lead learning, cutting-edge skills in state-of-the-art facilities, partnering with local employers. So look, so they can get out, help America lead the way on robotics and cybersecurity and so much more. And see that success reflected back home in their communities, not just in Greensboro, but across the country. So families can have good paychecks, good homes, great futures. My dad would say, my dad was a very well-read man. His greatest regret was he never got to go to college. And my dad used to say that everybody deserves just a little bit of breathing room. Just a little bit of breathing room. I was raised in a 3-bedroom split-level home when we moved down to Delaware when coal died in Scranton and jobs were gone. And with 4 kids, a grandpa, and my mom and dad. And I remember one day, you could always hear when Dad was restless in the room. I asked Mom on the way to school, "What's the matter?" He said, "Honey, Dad's company they said no more health insurance. No more health insurance." Not only deprives a woman or a man of their health, but of their dignity. Their dignity. Look at their child, their husband, their wife, who needs help. and can't get the help. One of the things we're trying to get done in the Congress is to pass legislation that won't raise taxes a single penny for anybody making less than 400 grand. And above that, it'll only be a smidgen for dealing with insulin. You got 200,000 kids with type 1 diabetes. They don't get their insulin. Many of you may know somebody, or you may have type 1 diabetes. You need the insulin. It costs $10 a vial to make. Average price, $646 a month. Not only imagine what happens when you don't have that money because you don't have the insurance or the cash. Imagine being a parent, looking at your child with type 1 diabetes and know there's not a damn thing you can do. Deprives you of your dignity, takes everything away from you. Well, guess what? For little or nothing, we can limit that price to $35 a month and they'll still make 350% profit. Folks, that's the story we got to keep writing. And by the way, I'm a capitalist. I'm not somebody who doesn't think you should be able to go out and make $1 million or $1 billion. Just pay your fair share. Just pay a little tiny bit. Not a joke. The Fortune 500 companies, and I come from the corporate capital of the world. Not a joke. More companies incorporated in the state of Delaware than the entire United States of America combined. And I was a senator 36 years. But guess what? 55 of them last year didn't pay a single penny in tax, and they made $40 billion. So folks, look, we have to keep going on so many other issues to deliver the promise of America to all Americans. For example, equity and opportunity require more than just economic investment. They require police and criminal justice reform. Even though Congress isn't taking action, my administration hears and sees the people who need it badly. We're making changes in the federal law. Police need more money, not less, in order to have social workers and others with them, not just to teach them how to do their job better, but also we need rules that I've initiated federally. No more chokeholds, no more no-knock warrants, requiring federal agents to wear protective body cameras. We're going to sit back while Republican Congress stand in the way of justice. I'm sorry to be partisan about that, but they are. They're unwilling to do anything. We're taking action. Today, my administration has also released the first ever equity action plan, laying out more than 300 concrete commitments to tear down the systematic barriers that have been allowed to fester for far too long in America. Things like getting pollution out of low-income neighborhoods. You notice they're always the last to ever be touched. In Delaware, a big chemical industry. Well, guess what? The corridor that we run down, going down the state, the fence line communities, the cancer rate, we have one of the highest cancer rates in America. Why? Because all these poor communities live near these stations, near these places. When I was growing up in Claymont, Delaware, not a joke, we lived right on the Pennsylvania border. It was a steel town. More oil refineries in Marcus Hook, Pennsylvania, the bend of the Delaware River than anywhere, including Houston. Guess what? When it got to be fall, I was in 4th grade, and there got a little frost. My mom would get in the car to drive me to school, which was only 3/4 of a mile away, but it was on a highway. Turn on the windshield wiper, there'd be an oil slick on the window. That wouldn't have happened where I live now in a nice neighborhood. Never happened. We're making sure the minority-owned businesses can access capital they need to grow. So no community is locked out of opportunity. Look, and I'm not saying this because I'm an HBCU. I've been saying this my whole career. When I ran for office, I said, I'm sick and tired of trickle-down economy. I'm about building from the middle up and out. Because when the middle does well, everybody does. The poor have a way up, and the wealthy do very well. The bottom line is this. The United States is in a position to outcompete the world once again. We have an incredible opportunity ahead of us. We still face tremendous challenges. But if we can keep coming together, invest in the backbone of America, the middle class, our great universities, hardworking families, STEM education, clean technologies for tomorrow, there's simply no limit. I mean it. No limit to what we can achieve. So let's continue giving working families a fighting chance. Let's keep investing in the future of this country, of every community. And let's face these challenges head on. Let's keep building a better America. Because that's who we've been. That's who we are. And we can do this. Still grow the economy, still be the wealthiest nation in the world, still reduce deficits by growing. There's not a single thing America can't do when we do it together as the United States of America. God bless you all.